Hosted on the corner with yours truly, Incognito.
He gets his DJ Mrs.
FILA.
What's up?
Forever I Love Atlanta.
Period.
And you know what? No matter where you from, it's some history that Atlanta is going to hit you on.
For sure.
He moved from the West Coast to Atlanta a long time ago.
I knew I heard that West Coast twang in his voice. Yeah. I knew I wasn't tripping.
Oh, Mark ass nigga.
Right.
Curtis Daniels in the studio.
Yes, sir.
Never been a Mark, by the way.
Yeah, that old buster ass nigga.
The real one.
I'm posted on the corner. I'm posted on the corner.
Man, real quick story, DJ Mrs. Early on in my career, man, you know, being from Columbus, Georgia, I always seen like the Closet Studios and the Homeboy Studios. And then there was this group came down to Columbus, Georgia from Atlanta called the Southwest Click.
Okay.
Came down, met them, and it's like, hey, you ever been to Patchwerk Studios before, Patchwerk Recording? I said, no, what's that? He said, when you come to Atlanta, we're going to show you. So went to Atlanta, came to Atlanta very on. This is 2006. Biggest studio I ever seen in my life. Greatest studio I've seen to this day. Still standing. A lot of history there.
Come on now.
Patchwerk Recordings, and it's all because of my good brother right here, Curtis Daniels.
Hey, I ain't gonna take all that credit. We got a great team of people over there.
But starting off, how important is it to have a team and building your team?
I mean, for me, early on, people used to joke with me, and they always used to say, "Why you got so many people working there?" And then I used to build out these spaces. I figured in the future we was gonna have all these reels and need storage, and people used to always be like, "Man, why you wasting space on them rooms, and why you got so many people?" My philosophy was, your company is only big as the number of people that you have working, like as number of employees. We needed to be able to work around the clock, and so I kind of frown upon places where if you go somewhere and because the owner ain't there, the business can't continue.
Right.
So we always had extra people. We wanted people. We've been selling customer service, so we needed people to facilitate that. So always somebody at the front desk. 30 years, we've never had a voicemail. We don't have any automation. If you call us, a human's going to answer the phone and open the door. So it's important to have people around to greet our customers when they walk in the door and when they call. So it's huge. And then to have an educated team to know that what we're selling. We're not selling studio time. We are selling customer service.
So coming from the West Coast and then coming to Georgia.
Well, I made a pit stop. I went to ball. I played ball at Michigan State. So I was in the Midwest for 5 years trying to transfer. I wish they had the transfer portal when I was in college. But yeah.
Okay, but how was that transition for you?
I mean, I struggled my first year in college. I did try to transfer because I was homesick, and probably like after my third year, I realized that I was comparing everything to home. And what I tell people, it doesn't matter where you're from, whether it's LA like me or Cleveland, it's home. And so when I was in Michigan, I would be like, man, if I was at home, I can go get a pastrami. If I was at home, they have all these Mexicans. If I was at home, I can go to In-N-Out. If I was at home, they'd be playing Ice Cube, not this booty shake music.
Tight.
And it wasn't until about my third year that I started saying, like, man, I need to just let go of home and accept East Lansing for what it was. And then I started to like it. So by the time I made that transition to Atlanta, I just accepted Atlanta for what it was. The biggest thing I struggled with was the dialect.
Yeah.
Like, just talking on the phone and stuff. And I used to be like, man, what you say? Hold on. And I didn't have no shame. I would be like, say it again. Like, say it again. My nigga, what? You know what I mean? So it was like it took a minute to pick up. And I pride myself because being from LA, we talk to Hispanics, Filipinos, Asians, all these different people. So I can pick up. Yeah, but man, the shit that was coming out of Atlanta, man, I couldn't pick it up.
Shout trying to get
They
studio
talk
time.
fast. Yeah, and they
trying to get up.
yeah, that's what they were saying. Yeah.
Well, here we are now celebrating 30 years at Patchwerk. We're talking 30 years of hits.
30 dog years.
Like, bro, 30 years, this is nothing that you can just sneeze at or come by.
Right.
What do you say that you pride yourself on or get to that 30-year mark?
I mean, the thing for me personally, what I kind of, I guess you would say, pride myself on is, like, a lot of people come to the studio like you did, and they see all these plaques on the wall. We probably got about 200 plaques or more on the wall. And they always think that we only work with big artists that are famous. And I always say, well, tell me which one is this artist's first album. So we got Sierra's first album, Jeezy's, Ludacris, T.I., whoever, all these different people first album. And I try to tell people that that means that nobody knew them before they came in here. They was just like you. For artists to break through, like some of those people that I named, their first album is very important. They got to work with some of the best producers, the best engineers, and have the best sound to be able to go out there. So what makes me proud is 30 years later, I still see Fable performing the songs that we mixed 20 years ago. I hear when the My Boo came back around, that we did that Lathan Freak It song. It still sounds good. Sierra stuff still sound good. So to me, that's what gives me pride, that I know I feel like the artists appreciate us when they get on stage. And these records, our records that we did from 95 to now, those are the records like when we were growing up, we was looking at old albums and we would see all these same names, Motown, Abbey Road or whatever. Now people looking at those records that we did throughout the 90s and you see Patchwerk on them. And then, you know, the fact that this trap music has turned into what it is, there's no doubt that that was all done at the studio. Any artist that you consider the pioneer of trap music, we recorded and mixed those records at the studio.
How does it feel to know that you're a part of hip hop history?
I didn't. I'm honored, and I don't take it lightly. And it wasn't until our 25th anniversary we did a documentary. And like I tell people, of course, I was involved with the questions, with the interviews, lining people up, the editing, and you always editing, looking at your phone or on a computer. And then it wasn't until I went to go speak at my school at Michigan State, and they had like 2 80-inch TVs in the room with the subwoofers. Our video dude cut a sizzle reel, 6 minutes, and I watched it. And I remember when it ended, everybody started clapping, and it was like, get up. And it wasn't until then that I had seen it outside of the phone, and I literally said on my mom, I said, damn, we did do something. We had an impact. Because I was like, man, that shit make it look like we did a whole bunch of stuff, which we did.
But when you moving,
yeah,
25 years straight.
Yeah, sometimes you feel like people take it for granted.
Right.
Sometimes, you know, I run into a bunch of different artists, and they'd be like, Kurt, you remember you did this? And I'd be like, I was wondering if you remember. You know what I mean? But what's weird is that now, with these podcasts and shows and stuff like yours, the stories are starting to come out.
For sure.
So when they sitting there talking to Tip, you're going to hear it. When you hear Akon, you're going to hear it. You're going to hear Jeezy, you're going to hear it. All my friends are always sending me stuff. Like you said, the housewives, you're starting to see it. And so it's cool for it to not be out of business and hear some of the appreciation is cool, because a lot of people get it after they close down. Like we be talking about LaFace and Noontime and after they went out of business, but when they was here working, I don't think people appreciate it for what it was. So for us to still be here, have people talk about us and appreciate what we did is really cool.
That's fine.
Man, so you're celebrating 30 years with a free event, live performances by Bone Crusher, Pastor Troy, DJ Herb is going to be there. It's going to happen July 26th.
Yep, don't forget about my crew, the Young Bloods, going to be there
For
too.
sure.
Yeah, my thing, Ink, is like I kind of want to be opposite of what's going on. And so at our party, it's from 2 to 6. It's pet friendly, kid friendly. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have drinks. We're going to have people performing. We're going to have games, basketball. Ain't going to be no VIP section. Ain't going to be no $40 parking. You're going to have to park and walk a little bit. We're going to be outdoors, have indoors. And I just want to create a vibe. And so like the staff that I work with, they're like probably your age, younger. They be like, man, can we get some other people to open up? I was like, nope. I said, I don't want to hear all that mess before people get on. I said, I'd rather have 4 or 5 DJs that I enjoy listening to, DJing, playing music. I'm not trying to sell time on stage for some up-and-coming artists or whatever. And I'm looking at it like, man, for 30 years, we, not just me, have been providing customer service, and it's been about our artists and customers and producers. This party is for me. It's going to be the tequila that I like to drink. It's going to be the music that I want to hear. It's going to be in the setting that I feel comfortable bringing my daughter and my dogs and my wife and having a good time. And we're going to get you out of there by 8 o'clock. And it's going to be free. So what we are going to do is last November, we turned our I Do Music company into a nonprofit. And so the tickets, I'm going to literally tell you, make a donation to I Do Music for $5, we're gonna give you a ticket. $10, we're gonna give you 2 tickets. $20, we're gonna give you 4. $30, we're gonna give you 6. If you a big baller, donate $50 and we're gonna give you a table and 6 things.
I
Oh,
know
It
that's
ain't
right.
really about the cost. With the I Do Music, we want to collect some money so that during the year next year, we can host some of our inner city schools that don't have the money to pay to come out on a field trip and let them spend about 2 to 3 hours. Because we do tours at the studio, VIP, corporate. And I see a lot of private schools and universities, they'll bust their kids in, give them lunch, spend a couple of hours. But some of the people don't have those funds to do that. So we want to use I Do Music to raise money so that we can bring the kids in there with their camps and stuff and show them, the studio.
do they get to leave with the patchwork cookies?
No, it'd be too many of them. It'd be too many. What they do, though, we do let them record. So they leave with a recording. They get to meet and talk with the engineer, and then we shoot video and stuff like that or whatever. But it wouldn't be a problem. If you came, we'll put some cookies out there. Not a problem.
Why was it so important for you to have a community outreach and making that a part of Patchwork's mission?
Well, I'm going to say a couple of things. So we've done a couple of celebrations. We at 30. And at the 30, we are going to do in September our 5K race. We did that for our 25th and our 20th. And when it came time to celebrate, everybody was like, you should do a concert. You should have a party. And I was like, that's what everybody do. I was like, I'm at the point, I'm like, man, the parties is like it's drinking, you out late, you just kind of bringing yourself down. I wanted to do something to kind of uplift us.
Mm-hmm.
And so the concept was Patchwork, we run the streets. And I was like, shit, let's really run the streets. Put 300-400 niggas in the street. And so we did a 5K and we always have about 300 people. The community part is like, so when we got in this space, when we started, me and Bob, there weren't a lot of people that looked like us on the technical side. On the creative side, producing and rapping, promoting, being talent, it was there. But as far as on the technical side with the studio, there was no one there. And so I felt like it was important because I kept seeing our kids getting thrown away. Like if they go somewhere and work and they make a mistake, they get rid of them quickly. And so we wanted to kind of create a place for your nieces and nephews and cousins that if they're interested in the music industry, that they can come work there. For me, it's very important to do stuff for the community because I feel like it makes it bigger. I have an issue kind of with our industry because I feel like in Atlanta, they're making things smaller. We have people that came from the music industry, that went to food and liquor and clothing, then they jumped over to entertainment, and now they're in politics. So to me, when it seemed like it's the same 5 or 6 people moving around, to me, that makes the city smaller. My goal is to make things bigger. So for me, I always say the success of an institution, what I think we are, is based on the success of its alumni.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always want to have this big tree of all these people that came through Patchwork. I don't want to be one of these people that's been in the music industry and I put myself on, but you can't see 40, 50, 60, 80 other people that benefited from it. I don't really.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the community stuff is like when COVID happened, I felt bad because we were busier we had ever been in our history. We did more work during COVID. I couldn't believe when we looked at the numbers. We were doing more work and being blessed, but we weren't doing anything because we couldn't do any of our events
Right.
for the community. And so we stopped doing them because we needed to do it for safety. And then this year and last year, we amped back up. So that's why we got all of these events going on for our 30th, because I got to make up for lost time for when we were being blessed and we were putting that back out there.
So I saw you have a vinyl party coming up as well.
Yeah.
Like that's old school right there. What's that vibe
Yeah,
gonna be
so
like
so
at
the vinyl party is we bring out our 2 turntables and our mixer. I got the needle service and everything, and we only play vinyl of records that were done at the studio. So on this particular vinyl party, I got Rocco coming. Already called him. He's gonna do 2 records. Got the Young Bloods coming to do 2 records. Pastor Troy, Jason Jeter gonna do some Grand Hustle, and then Block's gonna come out and do
That's
some
fire.
Boys in the Hood. So they'll basically come in and we'll tell stories about, hey, when we did this record, we did this. This was the engineer, and just tell stories about that. And then we'll have food and drinks and stuff like that. So
You
it'll be
DJ?
like a celebration. I don't DJ because I can't mix or blend, but I can play the right record.
Okay.
So when we were younger, my homeboy bought the turntables. We went and built the coffin. So I always did parties, but I only got the DJ when he wanted to dance. So whenever when
Sound
he
like
went,
me too.
yeah, so when he
You know
wanted
how
to
to
dance,
curate a vibe.
yeah, I ain't fading it in. Now I will tell you this. So this is just the honest to God truth. When they came out with them CDJs, I thought I was finally gonna be a DJ.
I know that's right.
I went to Guitar Center and I bought 2 of them in a mixer and bought some speakers. And I thought that it was gonna be magic. Like I can, and you still need the.
you
Well, you
still
a
got
DJ.
it, yeah.
Yeah, it ain't the tool. I thought I was gonna be able to blend and mix and man, I can't do
You
it.
still gotta
Yeah,
have
I don't
it.
have that talent, man. So I can play the record. If you leave me in there, I'm a hard.
I'm a turn these people. DJ Slammy Slam.
Yeah. But I can't DJ, but I know a good record to play when it's going on.
I know
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
So you have like weekend workshops and master classes. Talk to us more about those.
So our weekend workshops, we do those every 6 weeks, and we bring in kind of like an industry professional or for me, whenever we do, if we're ever doing an event or a panel, I'm usually only going to have one person. I don't even like to speak on panels if it's more than 2 people because I'd be like, y'all waste 20
Y'all
minutes
got it.
doing the intro. Everybody want to talk about what they did. So I usually tell them like, hey man, put the bio up behind them and the people can read it. Let's get to what we came here to talk about. But for us, I always feel like if you have the expert, you only need one person. They should be able to talk about publishing or law or songwriting or whatever it is, or management or whatever. So we'll usually on our workshops, we'll bring in a professional. The next one we got coming up is with Snake at the end of the month. And we charge between $35 and $45 to come to the workshop. They $75. So the workshops is kind of like we have a host that interviews them. And then, we open it up for questions for like 35 minutes. It's networking. So the workshop is kind of talking about something. The master classes tend to be about 3 to 4 hours. And those are where you're learning something. We usually only do 2 to 3 a year. Our first one this year was Troy Taylor on songwriting. And it was a 4-hour master class where we had producers play beats, broke up into 5 different groups. They wrote songs, picked the best song. We put them in the booth. He vocal produced them, and kind of had those records. So the master classes is more, and then I have DJs or somebody that's doing something, and the workshops are kind of like informational.
That's
And then
dope.
we try to keep them affordable.
For sure.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We do them in the morning for people that are serious. You know what I mean? And I learned the value of those during COVID because people kept saying that, man, y'all need to do the workshops because this is where I network. This is where I met people. This is when I did this. And without y'all doing this, it ain't really, it ain't really there. And then for me as a business owner, I always think it's important to ask yourself, do you matter? And I always, to figure that out is like if you disappeared, would somebody miss you? Some of these business disappear and nobody miss them. So I'm always trying to make sure that we're doing stuff that if we disappear, people would miss us.
For sure.
Yeah,
Over 200 plaques on the wall. Man, icons have recorded at the studio. Not asking you to pick favorites, but what are your highlights when it comes to albums that came out of Patchwerk?
That's a tough question. So, you asked it. I thought you was gonna ask me like somebody else, like my favorite sessions albums. So I don't know. You can't do that, man.
Give me the sessions.
Well, no, because so I'm gonna tell you like this. So okay, when they was doing all that versus stuff, I'm competitive.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I can't wait. I hope a studio challenge me. I'm about to go make me a list.
You're right.
But here was the issue. Those are songs, and we were doing albums. So then I start saying, okay, what artist? Okay, I'm gonna pick Tip. We done did about 5 albums. Which song you gonna pick? Okay, Jeezy. When I did about 5 albums, which Jeezy song? Sierra did the whole album. Ludacris, 5, 6 albums. Outkast, 5, 6 albums. Goody Mob, Society of Soul, Rocco, D4L, Gucci. So then I just threw it away because I was like, I was making me this list because even on this party, it's a little bit challenging because I feel bad when I'm calling Rocco to do vinyl and then I'm telling him about the 30th anniversary and I got such and such performing because he would fit right, especially
in there.
Fabo. They would fit right in there. And I'm like, yeah, I got some people performing and if you want to come out, we're gonna play the record. But these are people that I would want to hear their stuff. So for me, so the sessions that I would say that because I'm never in the room. I stayed in the room when we did Farrakhan. I don't know if people know he plays the violin. So we did his album. He was there for about 2 weeks, and I literally didn't work because I was sitting right next to him, and he telling me all kind of stories, and he was the one that was like, my brother, you need to have at least 4 kids. It's brothers like you that need kids. And so I didn't have no kids. And then I had one. And when he came back, I told him I had a kid. I brought my daughter up there. And so we took a picture. So the Farrakhan, I went. Dr. Dre came for a week. I told you I leave at 2. I came back at 8:30.
I know
for
that's
his picture.
right.
The stuff that I was curious about is I'm a fan, and I didn't believe Twister. I'm like, nigga, you can't rap like that. So when he booked studio time, I'm like, I'm about to sit in a room and see this nigga trick and learn how the fuck he do that, because he cannot be doing this shit. And the nigga did it. And then I was like, one time E40 was there. I said, this nigga fast as fuck. He must be punching or doing. He can't do it. Did it. Snoop, Scarface. I just, like I said, I think his persona is so serious, his subject matter. And he ain't in the booth, nigga bagging on you all day. And then he go in the booth and he sound like Face. And so those things were interesting me. And then, you know, all of the stuff I was telling somebody, you know, the Gucci, the Jeezy, the Tip, the Sierra stuff, any of the stuff that nobody knew who they were, that shit went around the world is big to me. And then to be hearing these records that I know that we did that, we gave it that sound. I go to a concert and I might hear some other artist, and then the record we did come on and that shit be hitting. I'd be like, man, we did that. You know what I mean? And so those are the things that kind of make me proud, and working with new people. You know what I mean? I like I said, I like the people that I got performing when we did Vice Versa and you know, We Ready and stuff like that. Those records are cool. I mean, I like when we did That's Just My Baby Daddy. Them records are fun. And it's like trying to figure out all the stuff that you did, but just to show appreciation to some of the people that came through there means a lot. And then, of course, for us, you know, Rico passed, and that was our first client. That's who put us on the map, Organized Noise.
Wow.
Our very first client was Organized Noise and Outkast. So it's kind of like, for us, it's a blessing. I don't have to make up a story.
Right.
Like, how'd y'all get started? I'd be like, our first session was Organized Noise and Outkast, and they gave us credibility. I mean, we found out that they were Falcon fans. Bob was playing for the Falcons. We were about 4 miles from the Georgia Dome at the time. And we asked them, did they want to go to the game? And Dee Dee Hibbler was working in the office. She was like, yeah, they want to go. We need like 23 tickets. I said, that's cool. She was like, I'm going to come by to pick them up. I said, nah, anybody want to go to the game got to come get their own tickets.
I know that's right.
So I made them come to the studio. And I got to tell people are kind of in the now. It wasn't a lot of money going around. They didn't want to pay for parking at the Georgia Dome, so half of them left their cars at the studio, carpooled, went to the game. After the game was over, Bob gave them a jersey, came back to the studio, and they started recording. If you go back and look at Soul Food, the video, CeeLo's sitting outside on a brick wall, that's across from the studio. Any studio scene that you see, they lit it up purple. That was our original studio at the old house. So those people are important. And I was like, for Dee Dee them and Organized Noise, like the last time I called Ray around our 25th anniversary, I know, Kurt, whatever you need, we part of your history. I'd be like, I'm conscious because I think some people don't feel appreciated because enough people don't mention them, give them their credit. I think they probably tired of me because I give them so much credit. But for me, what I tell people is back in the days, it was albums, it was cassettes, and it was CDs, and credit was given on the work. Now the credit isn't given. It got to come out of your mouth. So that's why anytime that I speak on it, I have to give them credit, because before, how we made it is we did Outkast. 3 million people, 1 million people bought that CD, and they looked on it and they was like, where'd they record this at? I want this same type of sound. I'm going to go to Patchwerk. Now it's important to speak it. And some people don't be telling the stories, and I don't really like that. So you're going to always hear me give credit to, we're going to give them an award that day, customer appreciation or whatever. And I think we get a proclamation that day from the city after 30 years, and I done seen people do way less days. So, hey, you know, it's our time. And but no, Rico, Organized Noise, Outkast, Dungeon Family, Attic Crew, you know, they gave us credibility, man.
When it comes to the architecture of Patchwerk recordings, right? You can walk in there today and it look like it was built yesterday. But it's been there so long. What was the mindset to build out that studio?
So on there, the funny thing is like what I always pride ourselves on in hip hop. You see people that be around, and then whether it's Death Row, you'll see them have to change to become the new untouchable Death Row. You'll see No Limit be the new and improved No Limit. We've never changed the color. We never changed the font on our logo for 30 years. Now the studio looks good. It's funny. I think I saw Gilly joking one day. He was like, "Yeah, I was in here 20 years ago. This place looked exactly the same window, same cookies or whatever." But what people don't realize, we've redone the studio over 6 or 7 times. But when we paint it, we just painted the same color. Yeah, we refurbished the couch. We changed the carpet, make it look similar and whatever. So we've been doing it. So sometimes people come and think that it looked fresh. The goal from when we designed the logo was timeless, unidentifiable, classic. You shouldn't be able to tell that it's some black people that own it. It shouldn't be hip hop. It shouldn't be R&B. At the time, there was no orange in hip hop. We own that color. Now everybody got some orange or whatever. So from the beginning of the visualization of, I remember one dude was like, "Man, y'all lucky. The only reason y'all successful is because y'all logo." So, nigga, if I had y'all logo, nigga, we'd be popping or whatever. You know what I mean? But we put a lot of thought into it. It's from our neighborhood. We're from a neighborhood in California called the Patch, and we were basically flipped it like their bloods in our neighborhood. Putting in work for the hood is going by, beating up, shooting somebody, robbing. We were athletes, but we wanted to honor our home, so we wanted to put in work for the Patch. So we flipped the Patchwork. So all of it has a story. The names of our studio, Studio 995, because our original location was at 995 McMillan Street. So when we moved, we brought all the gear there. Studio 9000, console. We got a studio called 1019. Me and Mike closed and bought the studio on October the 19th. So it ain't just happenstance, and all of that stuff goes into the story and the feeling. It all means something. And so when people come there, you feel that. Like you feel what was there before you. You're going to feel those spirits of Banner, Gucci, and all that stuff. It's in the walls. You know what I mean?
A lot of history on 1019, by the way. I was born on 1019.
There it is. You better come on and get in the booth, then.
For sure, Mrs.
Well, we the same age. The studio's the same age as you. Yeah.
That's fire.
And then on there, what's cool is stuff like this. It's like, you know, because when we met you, that was a long time ago, man. And it's like, you know, it's kind of like people like you, where you cross paths and you see what they doing and they see what you doing. There's a mutual respect. And then I was just sitting there thinking, it's like, man, all these people I've been knowing, I had somebody come by today. We did their stuff in 2008, and I hadn't seen them in a minute. And it's kind of like we've never fallen out. Right? I ain't ever did no bitch shit. You hadn't done nothing sideways or whatever. So those relationships stay in place. There's so many people that don't realize our history. I can go over there with Maya at Peter Street and people be like, "What we doing together?" And I'd be like, "He did our first flyer." It's so sometimes I'll make posts and I'll say family ties run deep. People may not know Clay started at the studio. They may not know Jason Jeter started there. They may not all these engineers that are engineering for your first artist. So it's funny to see that. You know, the thing is that when you start, like I tell people, we started in the house and we were kind of at this level. If we didn't grow, we couldn't continue to do the Outkast and the Jeezy and the Gucci records because they would have left us. But we started here and they started here and we both grew. We built that world class. Yeah. And so we can still do the work. They didn't outgrow us, which is dope.
Man, I just wanted to give you your flowers face to face. I probably tell you thank you like how you are as always. Don't let the story die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But man, it's a seed that you planted in my career many years ago. I don't know if it was intentional, unintentional, but it's definitely a part of the reason that we're here face to face in Atlanta. It's grown with me throughout my radio career. So just for you to give me the opportunity to go in the studio or support any dream that I had, you know what I'm saying, going on, that means a lot. I can remember times of trying to do a podcast and it never been a time where I called you and the door was closed.
Oh,
or
no.
if
I'm
I
not
had
gonna tell you
$2, Kurt would be like, "Give me that $2 then, bro." Like to see somebody that looks like me and to extend that opportunity, and you owe me nothing, bro. But it's always been love. So I just want to tell you, thank you.
Yeah, that's intentional and it's important.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I treat you like that, you're going to do that for somebody else. And so for me, throughout this industry, the people that I respect I respect people that employ Black people. It ain't about your job and what you doing. I look at all these people and how much money and how success they have, and I still may not even in my world have respect for them. Because I'm like, are you employing people? Are you interning these kids and these nieces and these nephews and giving them an opportunity to be successful? Because that's how we win. So for you, for all of y'all, most people, my default is, yeah, let's try that. And then let's pay attention to it. If it don't work, we're not gonna throw it away. Let's figure out why it don't work. So most of y'all, whenever y'all call me, it be people be calling me, setting up these fancy meetings. They come in there, book off 45 minutes, and they ask me something, and I'd be like, yeah. And they be like, that's it? I said, yeah. I said, what you want me to do? You want me to drag you around, make it difficult? What you want to do? You want to do a podcast? You ain't got no money? Come over here in the morning when I'm at work, and we gonna do it. And they be like, that's it? I'll be like, that's it. And so for me, I just don't believe that you got to be an asshole. You get in these positions, help people, inspire people, motivate people, show them that you can win by being a good person. So for y'all, anything y'all doing it, whatever y'all want to do, I'm not going to tell you no. I'm just going to be like, let's figure it out.
But they don't make your cloth no more, Kurt,
Yeah.
especially in
It's a
this
bunch,
industry.
it's a bunch of
It's
busters
a
out
bunch
here.
of busters and marks out here.
That's a bunch
Yeah,
of busters.
but then there's people like you and her.
Yeah.
We are out here. So for me, that's why like even on like social media, people be like, oh, I like how you be posting. And I try to post more because I want to put something else out there. So
Right.
it's kind of like normally I just would be like, I ain't running around doing interviews. I mean, I hit you, right? And then, you know, I hit people that I know. At this point in my career, if I'm going to do something, I want to do everything with people that I like, that I enjoy working with. If somebody wants to do a show, and I don't care how big the show is, but if my friend asks me and somebody else, I'm gonna go to my friend's show. When the king and queen came here, I didn't go. I let Oz deal that. But when the people from South Africa came, I gave the tour.
Mm-hmm.
That's more important to me. So I respect people. We on camera, but it's Black people in this room.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I respect.
Period.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about that.
Man, 30 years, Patchwerk Recordings is going to be an amazing time. Don't forget the foundation, I Do Music.
Yeah.
That's a good foundation. Also, we have the Vinyl Party. Going to do something with Wendy Day, making money in the music industry from branding to revenue. That's going to happen Saturday, July 12th. It's just going to be a whole bunch of events, man. I'm definitely going to stop by them. The address to Patchwerk is 1094 Hemp Hill Avenue. Been right there for years. They done changed the McDonald's, redid the McDonald's 100 times, and now they renovating, but Patchwerk ain't went nowhere.
I know
Yep,
that's right.
and I'll tell you this too. So for people, just come on in. Like I get on our people because man, it'll be people ringing the buzzer, and they'll be talking them through the buzzer, and I'll be like, let them in. My
Let 'em see
style,
somebody.
yeah. Well, they can't see nobody because all the sessions are private. But I'm like, we have a reception area with the door. Let them come in. Give them a brochure. Give them this. Show them something. You don't know who they are.
Right.
And so my style is not to put my hands up, stop you. My style is to, they'll be like, hey man, I'm in town from Tennessee. Can I do a tour? My front desk people be like, did you make an appointment? Well, you need to come back. I'll be like, man, let them people in the building. We ain't doing nothing. So if you got the address, if you in the area and you find us, I mean, it would be nice for you to call and make an appointment. But if you got to pull up, man, it's all good. You know what I mean? We're not going to be rude and treat you in a certain type of way. Yeah, we want you to come in. This place, the thing that sets us apart is that when we started, all of these other studios were privately owned. People like us didn't own them. We were kind of early in doing the 100% commercial facility, not owned by a record label or a producer. So our studio always belonged to the city. That's why we always had artists coming from out of town, because where you going to go? You going to go to Outkast Studio? You going to go to Dallas Studio? Nah, we want to go to a place where we can set up and make it ours. And so our studio belongs to the city. And so all the people that worked there over the years, I'd be like, man, why y'all ain't came back? I joke with you. I say, yeah, I ain't seen you over there in a minute. I'm like, y'all have equity in this building. Y'all put in work. Y'all put bricks in the foundation. You should come back and benefit from that. It's like being an alumni from a university. You can go to a school and graduate. They got your money and then you never go back. Or you could be an active alumni and get some benefits from being associated with that organization.
For sure.
So, you know, for the party, I'm hoping that anybody that's ever worked at the studio, that's interned at the studio, that booked studio time, did anything, I'm hoping they come out. I'm most worried right now that too many people gonna come out, and so we're trying to control the tickets and figure out a creative way to do it. But I'm not gonna put a limit on it. You know what I mean? I want it to be a day where people celebrate, people have a good time, and then maybe we'll do something private at the studio later on that night. But on Saturday, July 26th from 2 to 8, we're going to let our hair down and have a good time with our family. That's the goal.
Man,
Right.
congratulations on 30 years.
Yes.
Congrats on that institution, man. I picked up on that. Like an institution.
Mm.
Yeah,
So we
30,
out here.
30 years, I'll say this. You can work with black people, you can work with African Americans, or you can work with niggas.
Mhm.
We 30 years working with niggas, so it's like 75 years, man, dealing with these niggas or whatever. We need a special award for dealing with niggas.
Shout out to you for creating
Hey.
that safe space,
Hey,
though,
hey.
for niggas to work.
Hey, man, I done been threatened. We done had all kind of stuff up there. I'll just be like, man, come on up here.
It's 30 years.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a blessing.
Yeah, and it's a blessing. Last thing I'll say, but what's funny is that so many people have learned by coming into us. They'll be like, man, I had to learn how to schedule, how to be professional. When I came to your studio, if y'all said we started at 12, I knew you was going to charge me, so I got there early. So making that documentary, it was a lot of people that started telling, like even on the video you got to do, the question is, it's kind of like, what was the impact, or what is it called if it wasn't for Patchwerk? And then people answer that question. So I'm looking forward to hear what people have to say for their testimonials and what we meant and what the studio has meant for them in at each period in time over the last 30 years.
Right.
Man, Patchwerk Recordings on
Mm-hmm.
Big Curtis Daniels. Posted on the counter.
Posted on the corner, baby. West Side.
That's fire.
Posted on the corner. On the corner. On the corner. On the corner.